We are very happy to host in this course on Indian knowledge systems, Professor J.R. Bhattacharya, who is a well-known scholar of Sanskrit, Prakrit, and Pali, and also deeply versed in Jainism and Buddhism, both the literature as well as the philosophies and religions. He's currently teaching at Vishwabharati in Shantiniketan after having taught at other universities. And he is also a member of the Center of Jain Studies at the well-known School of Oriental and African Studies in University of London. He will be giving us two talks. One is on Jain canonical literature, which basically comprises all the fundamental texts of Jainism, especially as far as philosophy and religion is concerned. And the second is a lesser known field, and that is Prakrit dramatic literature. The Sanskrit dramatic literature is reasonably well known, but the Prakrit dramatic literature has been somewhat neglected, and Professor Bhattacharya will be giving us an overview of the different categories of the genres found within Prakrit dramatic literature, and he will show us how rich this field is and how much we should do to develop it and explore it further.
At the very outset, I'd like to introduce that Jainism and Jain literature, Jain canonical literature, and everything like that. First of all, I can say that the Indian traditional culture or cultural tradition mainly based on two schools. One is Brahmanism and other is Shamanism or Shamanic culture. Very, you can say that the Brahmanic culture is grossly you can understand by the term that Hinduism, and Shamanic culture grossly you can understand the culture is based on Buddhism and Jainism. So to know the Indian culture or Indian cultural history, it is very important to know both the schools of both the cultures. If we know only Sanskrit that represents Hinduism or Brahmanical literatures, or simply Buddhism or simply Jainism, actually we cannot reach to the essence of the culture of India. So it is very necessary to understand both the schools along with the Sanskrit. Pali represents Buddhism and Prakrit generally represents Jainism. So I may come to the next slide. Generally, we know that the language Sanskrit, and Sanskrit language is not the one language. And technically or linguistically, you can understand that this language is based on different stages, and the language of the Veda and the language of the classical Sanskrit, we have many developments, many stages of developments. So the language of the Veda and the language of the classical Sanskrit is not the same. So throughout the passage of time, the Veda, then the Brahmana, then the Aranyaka, then the Upanishad, and then the classical Sanskrit. So classical Sanskrit, the language classical Sanskrit and the language of the Veda is quite different. So the language of the Veda is Vedic Sanskrit or Vedic language. So the period by the linguist, it is drawn from 1500 BCE to 500 BC. This is in a nutshell. You can understand that language Sanskrit as far as the language is concerned. That is called, earlier it is called Sanskrit or Old Indo-Aryan, and now that Middle Indo-Aryan, the stages. So generally, the language Prakrit has come under the Middle Indo-Aryan or Middle MIA languages. So again, in Prakrit, we have different types of languages. That is that inscriptional Prakrit. You can see the left-hand side, that Girnar and Junagadh is the inscriptions. And on the right side, you can see that Pali, the language of Tripitaka, and you can see the literary Prakrit, and of course, Apabhramsha. The period of these languages or Middle Indo-Aryan language is drawn from 600 or 500 BCE to 1000 CE. So the language is 600 or 500 BCE to 1000 CE. That means the history of the language is of 1500 years. So Old Indo-Aryan has the history of 1000 years, and Middle Indo-Aryan has the 1500 years of its history. And of course, the next stage, it is New Indo-Aryan languages. So New Indo-Aryan language, it is started from 1000 CE and onwards. So from 1500 BCE to till date, the languages we have, it is called Indo-Aryan languages. It is called Indo-Aryan language. So, except those 4 languages in South India, the Tamil, Telugu, Kannada, and Malayalam. These 4 languages are called Dravidian languages. So, these languages do not come under Indo-Aryan languages. Okay? So, this is the preliminary remark of the languages. And now that in a nutshell, I have given this chart to you, that Old Indo-Aryan is 1500 BCE to 500 BCE, that is 1000 years. Middle Indo-Aryan 600 or 500 BCE to 1000 CE, and New Indo-Aryan, it is 1000 CE and onwards. It's going on. So this is the history of the language in a nutshell. So now we can come this, although this slide is only for one line, but it has a very big implication. So it is the Proto-Indo-Aryan stage around 750 BCE to 1500 BCE. So 1750 BCE to 1500 BCE. This is the period, it is called Proto-Indo-Aryan. That means in Old Indo-Aryan, we know that grossly the language is Sanskrit. In Middle Indo-Aryan, grossly we know the language is Prakrit. And the New Indo-Aryan, you can understand except those 4 languages of South India, all other Northern Indian languages have come under this New Indo-Aryan languages. Now, the question is that is Sanskrit the origin of Middle Indo-Aryan Prakrit? Is Middle Indo-Aryan is the origin of New Indo-Aryan? That is the question. So it is not so problem if we think that Middle Indo-Aryan, that is Prakrit, is the origin of all New Indo-Aryan languages, it is okay. But if we say that Old Indo-Aryan is the origin of Middle Indo-Aryan, it is not always true. Because both the languages, the side by side, they went on throughout the ages. So these are parallelly the languages were in vogue in earlier days. So we cannot say that Prakrit has been originated from the Sanskrit, so parallel. So we have to go back again. So there must be the general origin of both the languages from where Sanskrit and Prakrit developed. So this one line is very important, that in the sense that in Proto-Indo-Aryan say that we can find the source of both Sanskrit and Prakrit. Why I am coming to this language and language? First, we must be introduced with the language in which those canonical texts are written. So that is why it is the introduction of the subject. Now, for this Prakrit, you see that Prakrit is one of the ancient languages of India. Very, very true, very simple language. Other two ancient languages are Sanskrit and Pali. Generally, Sanskrit represents Hinduism. It is generally, okay, not all. Similarly, generally Pali represents Buddhism, and Prakrit represents Jainism. It is also general. It is not always true. So if we come to the term of the language Prakrit, so 65 or 70% the texts covered by the Jains are written in Prakrit. So 30 or 35% texts are there which have no relation with Jainism. So through this term, we will enter into the arena of the Jain canonical literature. So now there are some Sanskrit Prakrit quotations, and of course there are the English translation. In short, I have given there. When we think about the position of language in ancient India, so that Bharata once said he belonged to 3rd century CE, and that he is the father of the dramaturgy. Whatever you have seen in even the modern dramas, say Bollywood or modern cinema, modern theater, modern plays, modern drama, many things, at least 90%, have the origin of our earliest dramaturgy that is written by Bharata in 3rd century CE, and the text is named as Natya Shastra. So I have not mentioned here Natya Shastra anyway. That is Natya Shastra, Bharata's Natya Shastra. So in the Natya Shastra, Bharata has mentioned 7 types of languages. 7 types of languages. And I'm sure those languages are not involved in present situation. So these are very, very earliest form of the languages. So you can think that. So one quotation is there. Sometimes I will quote and I will translate whatever is there, because I am there to talk something on Sanskrit, Prakrit mainly. So some quotations is very essential for me and for you too. Otherwise, it is very difficult for you to hear these quotations from anywhere. So in his one verse, he has written, Magadhyavantija prachya shaura Ardhamāgadhī Dakshinatya Saptabhasha Prakrit. So below is the translation. These languages are Magadhi, Avanti, Prachya, Shauraseni, Ardhamāgadhī, Valabhi, and Dakshinatya. So 7 types of languages are used in those dramas. Apart from those languages, there are many subdialects talked by different characters, and that topic will be covered tomorrow, the dramatic practice. So I am not going to discuss on this matter, only that 7 types of languages, because Ardhamāgadhī is there, and Ardhamāgadhī is very important to introduce the language of the Jain canons. So now we will come actually in the area of Jainism. So just I have given an example, only one book for your ready reference. So So Ardhamāgadhī is the language of the Jain canons or canonical texts of the Śvetāmbara sect. Digambara, however, adopt Shorashatam as their Shastric texts, such as Shatkhanda Kṣamāśramaṇa, the texts of Kunda and others. So simply we can say that we know Jainism, we know the Jain sect, and that the Jain sect is mainly classified in two groups, Śvetāmbara and Digambara. By the term Śvetāmbara, Ambara means that plaid dress, who use that white plaids, so they are the Śvetāmbaras, and other group is Digambara, they don't need any clothes. So they are Digambara. So two distinct groups are there as Śvetāmbara and Digambara. Okay. So Śvetāmbara, they believe that they have compiled or they have composed those texts which are directly transmitted as it is told by Lord Mahāvīra. He is the Tirthankara. He is the 24th Tirthankara. He is the fourth founder. He has established that Jain groups, that laymen, that monks, nuns, laymen, and lay-women. Four Tirthas are there. I will come to the next point in there. So that is why Śvetāmbara believes that the preaching of Lord Mahāvīra has been compiled in almost the same form in their texts, that is called Jain Canonical texts. But Digambara, they do not believe that Mahāvīra's preaching is preserved in such a way what Mahāvīra delivered his lecture in such a way. So they don't believe the subject matter, they believe the subject matter, but they don't believe that language, the subject matter is represented or reserved in such a kind that Mahāvīra has told. It is not believed by the Digambara. That the basic difference of Śvetāmbara and Digambara. Now, it is a very big list and you may not remember everything, but you see that I have to, when I am dealing with the subject, so I have to give the list, actually the literatures of the literatures. So you see that first it is Anga, it is Anga, it is 11, but if you count, you will see that 12, and there is 12 Upangas are there. So Jain canonical text is said to be 32. 32 by one group. One group says that it is 45, and other group says that it is 84. Be it 32, be it 45, or be it 84. You can understand easily. Almost all the texts are taken and they are classified in such groups, 32 or 45 or 84. Okay. So you see that I have just marked in different color. The first Ācarāṅgasūtra and Sutrakṛtāṅgasūtra in black. And you can see that in the list, the last one is Drishtivada and it is lost. Although it is 12, since it is lost, so it is counted as 11. So just to remember the earliest texts, those are Ācarāṅga and Sutrakṛtāṅga. Those are very, very important texts of the Śvetāmbara canonical literature. And now the Upangas, that Upangas are based on those Āṃgagranthas, Āṃga literatures. Okay, so I'm not going to that part. Next, will come that I am giving that the two pictures of two texts. You can see that Mula Sutra. There is Dasaveyāliya Sutra and Uttarādhyayana Sutra. It is also I have written in bold script. So first Ācarāṅgasūtra in the first slide, and now Dasaveyāliya and Uttarādhyayana. So if you just ask, can you tell at least 4 major texts of Jain canonical literature? So you can at least remember these 4 texts as the very prime text and used by the Jains even till today. So Uttarādhyayana Sutra and Dasaveyāliya Sutra. There are other sutras, there are Cheda Sutras, there are Dasasutra Skanda literature, and so on, and last Avashyaka Sutra. So all I have taken that 32 canonical texts, and out of these 32, The four texts are very important, that is Ācarāṅgasūtra Kritanga and Uttarādhyayana and Dasaveyāliya. These four texts are very important. All are important, but usually people know these texts very well. Now, the whole text, if you divide or classify whole text into spatial groups, so these have been divided into four groups also. The first is Charana Karananu Yoga. These are all Sanskrit terms. Charana Karananu Yoga, the translation is there based on the ethics. Charana means Ācarāṅa, your conduct, your behavior, like this. So that is why vows and self-restraint. This is the main theme of Charana Karananu Yoga. And you see that one text is in bold character, it is Ācarāṅgasūtra. Other texts are there. At least this text holds the Charana Karananu Yoga, that is based on vows, vratas, and self-restraint on this. Now come to the Dharma Kathanu Yoga. The Dharma Kathanu Yoga, that means it is implementation of righteousness, the duties, the dharma. So anyway, so dharma has many connotations, and the main connotations is your righteous duties. That is the dharma. Okay. So implementation of righteousness. And where can we find that all these types of in the text, matters in the text? That is Jnata Dharma Katha text, and other many texts are there. So at least in these texts, you can find that Dharma Katha Yoga. Next, it is Ganitanu Yoga. I think that you, the very bright, very brilliant, very sophisticated students of IIT. So I think you may be interested on those texts or on this subject in future if you want to do something on that, and it is directly related with the science subject, and so it is mathematics and astronomy. And in this context, I can say that there are some texts, although sporadically there are mentions of many branches of sciences in Jain canonical text, but particularly these three texts, Jambudvipa Prakriti, Surya Prakriti, and Chandra Prakriti. These are the canonical texts. And after that, the Jain Acharyas of latter period, they have composed many texts based on the life science, based on the chemistry, based on mathematics, based on the astronomy, based on the medical sciences. And there are many books, many texts are there that in latter period Jain Acharyas have composed. So if you go to the origin of the main text of what have been described or what have been preached by Lord Mahāvīra, so these books that Jambudvipa Prakriti, Surya Prakriti, and Chandra Prakriti, these texts have the matters of mathematics and astronomy and like this. And last, it is that Dravyanu Yoga, that four stages are there. Charana Karananu Yoga, Dharma Kathanu Yoga, Ganitanu Yoga, and Dravyanu Yoga. Dravyanu Yoga is also the related to physics, okay, the subject is physics. So, although your physics and that earlier days, the philosophy is the same. So don't be confused. So we have substances, we have that fundamental things, we have metaphysics, we have physics in our earlier text. So Dravyanu Yoga, it deals on 6 substances and 9 fundamentals. So 6 substances like this earth, the air, the fire, the sky, the vanaspati, the plants, okay, and also these creatures, all creatures, like it comes out of the 6 substances. And in case of 9 fundamentals, that is the basic. 2 things are there. One is soul and another is non-soul, the basis. And this non-soul have been divided into another 7 parts. So there are 9 fundamentals up there. So these have been all discussed in the Dravyanu Yoga. So some literatures are based on philosophy, some literatures, religious literatures, some based on social aspects. There are many types of literatures up here. Okay. Now the left side, I am just comparing with the literatures of our ancient literatures that you can find in that Hindu literature or Brahmanical literature like that. So we have to just compare. So in case of that in Indian literature, if you come to Sanskrit, then the Vedas, the four Vedas are there. Vedangas, there are Upanishads, there are Puranas. I have given you the list, and I think you can collect it from later on. So I don't want to just discuss all these matters. So like that of that Brahmanical tradition, we have the Jain tradition. So Śvetāmbara and Digambara. So Śvetāmbara has the literature what I have discussed earlier just now, that the literature based on the preaching of Lord Mahāvīra, it is, and the Digambara has the literature based on the preaching of Lord Mahāvīra. The Acharyas, the teachers of within India, they have composed many texts, and that is called the Digambara literatures. Now let us come to some social aspects. So from philosophical literature to some social literature, social aspects. So there are some stories in this literature. It is not only that only there is some philosophical ideas or some religious, of course the religious, everything based on religion, but there are 10 stories in a book. It is called Upasaka Dasha. That means Dasha Upasaka, 10 lay devotees. Okay, lay. So there are the stories, and the stories are there just to teach the society how a person can make himself very religious. So religious means, again, I am just I repeating it. That is with your righteous duties. So one Upasaka, one layman, his name is Ananda. Okay? Ananda Gathapati. So Gathapati means that in Prakrit it is called Gahavai. That it means the people residing in those areas, they sang their praises. Okay. And Ananda Gathapati was so rich at the time that he has the deposit of 4 crore of gold coins. 4 crore gold coins are invested in business or business. 4 crore of gold coins in lending business, and 40,000 cows in his 4 herds. So he was a very, very influential person, and he has many servants, many cattle, servants, and many relatives. They have, they stayed with him, and he was very influential person. But the main point is that if you have nothing to eat, and if you take a vow, okay, I will do some upavasa, fasting, so it has no meaning actually. If you have enormous property and if you have no attachment with those properties, if you can renounce everything from your life, so it is your credit, it is your capacity. At that time, you can consider. So Ananda was such a rich person, even then he renounced everything at the end of his life, and he has given all, he renounced all. So that is why he is the example of an ideal upasaka, ideal layman, lay devotee. So this story we can have in Upasaka Dasa. There are another 9 stories based on such type of very big person. Though they are the example of the then society, even they are the example of the present society. That our attachment is the main problem. Because your satisfaction, your happiness is in your contentment. So if you have the thirst, in Buddhism, in Jainism, in Hinduism, everywhere it is found, that your thirst is responsible for your restlessness. So whenever you are contented, you are satisfied. So at that point of time, you are happy person. So these are the examples of those those lay devotees, lay persons, those who have very great contribution to the society, and those that they can teach us in many ways. Now I come to your Gujarat. First, it is some texts I have taken from the Jain canons, and in below that you know that the translation in a nutshell. Okay. So Dwaraka city, the Dwaravati, earlier it was said Dwaravati. So Dwaraka city, this story I have taken from Gaṇadharas. And there we have that one Tirthankara. He was the 22nd Tirthankara. His name was Arishtanemi. It is not mentioned here anyway. Arishtanemi, and he belonged to Gujarat. So in his time, the Dwaravati Nagar, the kingdom of Krishna, Lord Krishna. Okay? So you can understand that there it is written that Dwaraka city, it is length 12 yojanas. One yojana is equal to 12.8 kilometers, that is roughly 13 kilometers. Okay, so 156 kilometers it is length, and breadth 9 yojanas, that is 117 kilometers. Okay. And made of precious stones and gold, roof designed with the image of head of monkeys. Palaces look like the heavenly abode. It is just to throw a light to you if you are interested in your tale in future. So if you understand that this type of things can be explored by you, so that is why I'm just giving you the some glimpses only if you are interested in the future. So now it is to say that Dwaraka is immersed in the ocean, and some relics are there, sometimes, so some scrappy things are there, not everything. So earlier those days, the very big city and very renowned city was Dwaraka, and the examples and the explanations, everything that find in the Ācarāṅgasūtra. And of course, I chose this subject to you because I am here in Gujarat. So some things that earlier stages, some remnants of Gujarat or where we can find in the literature, I have collected some materials for you. So there is one mountain, it is called Raivataka. Earlier they were called Raivataka. Now it is called as Girnar Hill. Okay, and I have taken this picture from Google image for you. So there is the quotation is there, and I'll just translate only the catching point. That sky touching mountain, full of bushes and plants, is written. Many varieties of birds, meeting place of the earth and the heaven. It was so high. It was that it is so high that it was thought that maybe that is the point, the meeting point of the earth and heaven. And the presence of celestial names, that Apsaras, and demigods, etc. So this is the example of the Girnar hill, the Raivataka Parvata. And now some points I have taken from there, the position of women. I have given only glimpses because I know that I have very limited time to discuss with you. So that is why I have taken some limited time. So please see that the first line, 2 lines are based on that Lord Arishtanemi, the 22nd Tirthankar, and he was said to be the cousin of Lord Krishna. Okay. Now come to the second and third para. It is based on the position of women. Glimpses are there. Okay. So in that Gatha Dharma Katha, there is the mention of one lady. She was a very, very influential lady, and her name was Bhattacharya. So in case of Sanskrit, if we just convert it into Sanskrit, maybe Sthapatya. Sthapatya means established, okay, and in feminine gender. So Bhattacharya, the son of that lady, the son of that lady Bhattacharya. So he was very, 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 very big character in the literature. And of course, in case of that, we always generally in our physical life, we emphasize on our physical body, but very hardly we go into it. So know that prani or know that inert power or inert existence come oftenly to our mind. So that is why generally it is said that that in comparison with men, women are more spiritual. Okay, so that is why in the time of Aristotle, we can find that the number of monks was that 18,000 and the 40,000 numbers of nuns in his order. So not only just to address your physical body, but your mental body, your emotional body, and your spiritual body. Those are all important. So we have to take care of that. And the female characters and females and the women are very much aware of that fact. And so that is why they are bigger the number in case of spiritual life. Now, I am just perhaps this is the last part of my lecture and some slides on that. There is a dialogue, okay, because it is literature. And now this is very interesting dialogue. Just mark on that second word, Sarisavaya. Just remember this thing, Sarisavaya. I am not disclosing the fact because in the literature it is very interesting way it is represented by these characters. So that is why in the literature, that is someone is asking that Shuk, there is one monk of another heretical sect, and he is asking to Bhattacharya, another monk, some questions and answers. So in Indian tradition, you know that if you go to the point, actually negation is the big point. So this is not, this is not, this is not, this is not, this is the style. You want to go to the higher position, highest position. So if you just admit it, okay, this is, that means many things are lapsed. So neti, no iti, not this, not this, not this, in this way. So if you if you speak something to justify your word, so there are many questions inside. So now Sukha is asking Bhattacharya, is a Sarisavaya edible or inedible? Can you eat the Sarisavaya or you cannot? So just I want to draw your attention to modern Indian films. Generally the comedians, they do. Okay, is this that thing? No, it has two divisions. If you take this division, there is no way. If you take this division, it has again two divisions. So can I go there? No, you cannot go there. You leave this. And if you take this, it has again two divisions. Like this, it is generally in comedian roles, it is placed, put in the mouth of the comedians. But if you just justify your word in a specific way, you must concentrate on particular point. You cannot say anything that has two meanings like that. So asking, is Sarisavaya edible or inedible? Now answer is that it is edible and inedible as well. How can you say what is it saying that Sarisavaya edible and inedible? Now he answered, Sarisavaya is said to be two types. Friend Sarisavaya and grain Sarisavaya. Sarisavaya means that in Hindi we say sarso. Sarso. Sarsha paka. It is Sanskrit word. Sarsha paka. And sarso, the sarso, it is Sarisavaya. And Sarisavaya, that means Sadrishavaya, at the same age, frame. So if he is asking in that word, the Sarisavaya is edible or not edible? So he says Sarisavaya has two meanings. So that is why two types, plain Sarisavaya and grain Sarisavaya. Now he says that three kinds of friends of same age, grown up in same environment, and in childhood sports. so they are not edible by moth. If that is the grain Sarisavaya, again it has two types, ripped or unripped. So if it is unripped, then it is not edible by moth. If it is ripped, then it again two types. If it is animate or inanimate. If it is animate, so it is not edible by moth. You know that Jain monks, they don't take any animate things. They don't take salad either, okay? So it is their rule. So that is why the Sarisavaya, then if it is inanimate, then again two types. It is acceptable or unacceptable. If you are taking, you are snatching from him, or you are giving, acceptable. It is worthy to be accepted or not, that thing. So if it is unacceptable, so it cannot be edible. If it is acceptable, again two types. So if it is baked or it is not. Now you see that what is in Jainism, you say that if something is there on the road, maybe a gold coin, and if you know that nobody is claiming for that and you are taking that, you know that it is not claiming by other. It's not claimed by other. That even has come under stealing, because you know very well that it is not your coin. That's enough. You are taking someone else. So in that sense, it is acceptable or not acceptable. There's a question. So now that it is baked or not baked. So if it is not baked, you are just taking from anywhere, you cannot take. It is not edible for monk. So if it is baked, again, there are received or not received. Someone is giving alms, but if it is received or not received. If it is not received, then not edible. If it is received, then it is edible. So coming to that Sarisavaya, that same word, it is edible or not edible. So there is a style of the language. And this style, fortunately or unfortunately, has been that is imitated by modern society also in some other ways. So now, in the last portion of my lecture, it is that some quotations from very good texts. It is the Purisha Tumangsi Nama Sachiva Jangham. Oh man, it is nobody other than you to whom you are going to kill. Okay, so by speech, by mind, and by your action, Jainism says that if you think any evil thinking is in your mind, even then you are doing some sinful act. It is not that you are just killing somebody. If it is in your mind, you have the same quality of sin in your mind. So you have to be free from that. So it is said, oh man, it is not other person to whom you are going to kill. You are the same person to whom you are killing. Then again it is said that, oh man, you are your own friend. Then why long for external friend? So you are your own friend. Be with yourself. Just spend some time with yourself. Oh man, grasp the soul. This is how you will emancipate it from suffering. So if you just be with yourself, you will be free from this external difficulties, sufferings. And O self, follow the truth and truth alone. Another quotation is that one who recognizes one recognizes all. One who recognizes all recognizes one. That is also philosophical term. And if you understand yourself, you can understand everybody. Or if you understand everybody, you can understand yourself. And the last is that there is always a weapon mightier than another one. Whereas there is no weapon mightier than the spirit of dishonour. So this is the beauty of the literature of yeah. Oh, you did that Okay, translation is there, but you want to utter those takes to my mouth. Okay, the sound. Okay, so that's fine. Okay, let's come to that. Purisa tumang sinama satcheva jangham tabbam timangasi. Purisa, oh man, okay? It is nobody other than you to help. Purisa tumameva tumang mittam. King Bahia mittam. You are the friend of yourself. Why are you searching friend in other place, outside? Purisa attanameva abhinivigijya. Evam dukkha pamokasi. If you are enrolled with yourself, you will be free from sufferings. You will be free from these external problems. Purisa satchameva samavijānai. Oh self, follow the truth. No, follow the truth, only truth. Okay? Je evam janai se sabbam janai. Je sabbam janai se evam janai. These are the practical texts, and it is one who recognizes one self, that is self, recognizes all. One who recognizes all, recognizes one. Atti satthaṃ parena param, natti asatthaṃ parena param. So that is why. So there is always a weapon mightier than the other one. Whereas there is no weapon mightier than the state of discernment. So in case of non-violence, peace, truth, non-stealing, and non-possession, even in case of that celibacy, Jainism teaches us many things. So I think it is interesting that Jain canonical texts that cover almost all aspects of human life, and according to our choice, if we specialize those matters for us, so it can help, and it can help our inner feelings that can inspire us to grow our mind, to grow our spirit, and grow our capability in a bigger way, better way. Thank you very much.